सम्पूर्णकुम्भो न करोति शब्दम् अर्धो घटो घोषमुपैति नूनम् विद्वान् कुलीनो न करोति गर्वं गुणैर्विहीना बहुजल्पयन्ति.
Today we sit with a small verse that carries the sound of water and the weight of a lifetime's wisdom. It comes from the Subhashita tradition of Sanskrit, those polished, freestanding gems of practical insight that scholars and courtiers exchanged for over 1,000 years. Listen to it first. Sampurna kumbho na karoti shabdam, ardhagato ghosham upaiti noonam, vidvan kuleno na karoti garvam, gunair vihina bahujalpayanti. The meaning unfolds simply. Sampurna kumbha, the completely full pot, na karoti shabdam, makes no sound. Ardhagataha, the half-filled pot, ghosham upaiti noonam, certainly comes to make a great noise. And then the poet turns from clay to character. Vidvan kulenaha, the truly learned person of noble bearing, na karoti garvam, does not display pride. Gunair vihinaha, but those who are empty of virtues, bahujalpayanti, they chatter on and on. Let the individual words open up for a moment. Sampurna comes from the root pri, meaning to fill, with the prefix sam intensifying it, filled to the very brim, lacking nothing. Vidvan comes from the root vid, to know, the same root that gives us the word Veda. It describes not someone who is collecting knowledge, but someone in whom knowing has been completed. And notice the poet's mischief in the last line. He does not say the shallow ones speak. The root for ordinary speech would be vad. He says they jalp, they babble, they prattle. The verb itself is a small act of judgment. There is an even finer touch. The full pot makes no shabda, not even a simple sound. But the half pot produces ghosha, a word derived from the root ghush, meaning to proclaim aloud. So the fullness produces zero, and the halfness produces not just sound but a broadcast. The poet has graded the acoustics of the soul with scientific precision. And here is the beautiful thing. The physics is actually true. Carry a brimful pot of water on your hip and it travels in silence because there is no empty space inside, nothing to slosh, no air cavity to resonate. Carry a half-filled pot and every step sends the water crashing against the walls, while the air above it amplifies every strike like a drum. The metaphor is not poetic decoration, it is accurate acoustics observed by someone who had carried water. Now, what is the water? The water is knowledge, virtue, inner substance, what Sanskrit calls guna. And the sound? The sound is the audible signature of a void. This is the verse's deepest insight. It treats arrogance not as a sin to be scolded, but as a symptom to be read. Garva, pride, is like a rattle in an engine. It is information. When someone must constantly announce their brilliance, correct everyone in the room, broadcast every achievement, the verse invites us to hear that noise for what it is, not confidence but turbulence. The slosh of a half-filled interior destabilized by its own incompleteness. And the reverse is just as illuminating. The humility of the truly learned is not a performance, not a cultivated modesty worn like a garment. It is simply the natural acoustic property of fullness. The Vidwan does not suppress pride. He has no cavity left for pride to echo in. There is a hint here of the great Upanishadic teaching of Purnatva, fullness. Purnam adah Purnam idam. That is full, this is full. One who is established in inner completeness has nothing to prove, because the hungry advertising ego has dissolved into the fullness itself. This wisdom appears across the world, almost word for word. Lao Tzu in the Tao Te Ching says, "Those who know do not speak, those who speak do not know." The Book of Proverbs says, "Even a fool who keeps silent is thought wise." Socrates was judged the wisest of the Greeks precisely because he knew that he did not know. And the English proverb says, "Empty vessels make the most noise." But notice, the Sanskrit version is more precise than all of these. It is not a simple binary of empty and full. It identifies the half pot, the ardha ghata, as the loudest of all. And modern psychology has caught up to this. The Dunning-Kruger effect, described in 1999, found that confidence peaks not at zero knowledge and not at mastery, but at partial knowledge, exactly where the ancient poet placed the maximum noise 2000 years earlier. So how do we live this verse starting today? Let me offer you 3 doorways. First, a question to sit with. Ask yourself, where am I the half pot? In which area of life do I speak most eagerly, correct others most quickly, feel the itch to announce? Do not judge it, just hear it. Treat the urge itself as a reading on your fill level. Second, a question that goes deeper. The next time you feel the swell of pride rising, pause and ask, what is the emptiness underneath this? Pride is only the noise. What is the specific hunger? For recognition, for security, for reassurance that the noise is trying to cover. And third, a practice. I call it the 24-hour holding rule. The next time you learn something exciting or achieve something you are proud of, hold it in silence for 1 full day before telling anyone. In those hours, you will feel the sloshing, the almost physical itch to broadcast. That itch is precisely what the verse describes. Let it settle. What you hold quietly deposits into depth. What you spill immediately evaporates into noise. Alongside this, try a simple discipline in your conversations. Ask 2 questions for every statement you make. You will find the compulsion to chatter fades when your energy goes into filling the pot rather than wringing it. Carry this one sentence with you as the essence of the teaching. Before speaking, ask yourself, is this water overflowing from a full pot, or is it the slosh of a half-empty one? Sampurna kumbho na karoti shabdam. The full pot makes no sound. May your learning grow so deep and your inner vessel so full that your silence itself begins to teach.
सम्पूर्णकुम्भो न करोति शब्दम् अर्धो घटो घोषमुपैति नूनम् विद्वान् कुलीनो न करोति गर्वं गुणैर्विहीना बहुजल्पयन्ति